Hello friends. Glad to see you again, I hope for your support. Enjoy your viewing. The area under the first floor of the tower, Jianlu Port. A crowded place with thousands of bright banners with all kinds of advertisements for a particular product. Bai Wu, sorry to keep you waiting, Captain Wu Ju went to settle some formalities. A brunette with disheveled hair and with a bag over his shoulder at the ready was coming down the stairs, approaching me. First we'll take you to where you're going to live now, and at the same time we'll take a walk. The newly arrived companion continued his speech. Your things have already been taken there. He opened the bag and began to take out of it a similar blue jacket. But we still brought clothes, here, put them on. I accepted the new thing, starting to put it on right away, and the guy who just took it out continued his speech. If you like something on the way, we can buy it. Wu Ju gave you some money, it's in the bag. The street ahead is called Jianlu Port, you can buy anything here. My guide did not stop talking. But don't trust the merchants who will try to sell you Jilin. My companion chirped right there. Jilin for 17 hours. A voice immediately exclaimed at full volume from the digital screen above our heads. I think everyone understands what it means to stay 17 hours outside the tower. A guy appeared on the screen with a shovel in his arms and continued his monologue. You can buy this shovel, it has divine power. Wow. How much did it cost to place such an advertisement? The voice in my head was surprised. But the monologue of admiration from the guy in the screen did not dare to end. Just imagine, you have only dug, but you have already dug up so much that others cannot do in a month. If I hadn't joined the intelligence corps, I would definitely have kept it for myself. Now I can only throw it away or sell it to some lucky guy. What? I was taken aback by what I heard right there, a voice that only I could hear. Does the intelligence corps supply the goods? He was puzzled. It would be better to put the girl. This one can't even play. When his gaze immediately turned in our direction, the voice immediately began to indignantly parry the bulging eyes of the young man. Don't look. Don't look. Please avert your eyes. 998 tans, you won't regret it. If you buy now, you will get a discount of 300 tans. The advertisement from the screen exclaimed again. What's happening? There are no such people in our corps. I was distracted from the exclamation in my head and the voice of the advertisement by my companion, who was obviously very outraged by what was happening. Why there are still people who pretend to be us. We cannot allow him to tarnish the name of our corps. Let's go. We'll report to the captain and he'll sort it out. Waving her arms furiously and shouting out louder indignation, the girl hastened her pace. Yun Shu. Only her friend called after her. Calm down. We need more. He was about to say something else to calm her angry fervor, but I interrupted him. Go with her. In response, he just said. But once again I didn't let him say it to the end. You can't let her do whatever she wants, can you? He obviously understood me and immediately settled down, keeping all the other words to himself, as if he remembered something bad. Bai Wu, then you'll get there yourself. He shouted and threw his bag to me, immediately taking off after the girl. The money is in the bag. While. Yeah. I came to a tall building with a burning inscription of large yellow sizes. Wow, did you find something interesting? A voice immediately appeared in my head. Half an hour later. Here is the door of my new residence. One click on the door handle and I got a view of my mansion. Not a lot, however, a wardrobe, a chest of drawers, a computer chair, a table. Inside is the basic equipment of the members of the intelligence corps, carefully study. Gu Kinju. So read the message on a piece of paper on top of the suitcase. Vi. How attentive Wu Ju is at work. A voice in my head immediately exclaimed. As soon as I opened the suitcase, I saw another piece of paper with the text. A memo? The voice was immediately interested. Let's see what it says. And it fell silent for a while, as if it began to read with me. Beginners are given a watch to detect negative emotions when they go outside the tower. When negative emotions reach the 75 mark, an alarm is triggered. There were 2 sectors in the suitcase. At the bottom of the suitcase, in a recess, there were 3 devices similar to syringes with liquid and a needle the size of a case exactly the size of a palm. There was just a watch in the door of the suitcase. The memo really indicated this clock, or rather schematically drawn and painted where which button and what it means. The warning icon on the bright blue screen, the scale of emotions, the sun behind the cloud meant the weather, the temperature icon, of course the time, the clock was there too. All members of the corps must follow the rules. When an alarm is triggered, immediately use the disc for teleportation. Well, a good mechanism for survival outside the tower. A voice in my head stated the fact. I immediately put on my watch, fixing it on my wrist. After all, sometimes people don't know what emotional state they are in, and this mechanism will reduce the number of problems. But this thing is for you. He wouldn't let up. Completely useless. Ha ha ha. The voice gloated. There are 2 digits 0 on the blue screen. But don't worry, there is one more thing in the box that will definitely interest you. 3 syringes with a cloudy white liquid were well fixed in their cell by a wide strip of leather strap. A tranquilizer that suppresses emotions. The voice immediately explained. You can enter it when you are close to the fallen and are about to enter the danger zone. I took one of the syringes and decided to let in 1 drop of liquid. In the light, however, it sometimes shimmers with a blue hue. Your muscles relax and you enter a state of calm for a short time. The effect is about 5 minutes. Sure. After these 5 minutes, your calm state turns into a state of hyperactivity and your negative emotions intensify. Do not use it unless absolutely necessary. How is the emotional spring? First we squeeze it, and after 5 minutes we release it, and an emotional surge occurs. I was interested in the information provided by the voice. Right. Right. Very interesting. This voice immediately exclaimed in response. I didn't think and decide for a long time. It became interesting for me to try out a new acquisition, and I immediately injected myself with one of these syringes into the neck area without even squeaking. A voice immediately exclaimed, almost deafening me. Do you want to experience negative emotions so much? I decided to sit waiting for the effect of this substance, and the clock was ticking all the time in the corner of the room, diluting the silence. Although how to say silence, there is still a voice right there. Oh, Thomas the Unbeliever, I can only wish you good luck. A voice spoke. 5 minutes later. An empty syringe lies on the table, casting glare with the body using the light of a table lamp. Ha ha ha. The voice laughed, enjoying the effect. Well, how? What do you feel? Or are you going to sleep? I raised my hand in the air and turned it in the air. I don't feel anything. I spoke in response to the voice. This is to be expected. The next day. Here they go beyond the tower. A platform in the form of a circle surrounded by illuminated pillars around the perimeter. 6 pillars white, purple, yellow, gray, red and blue. These stelae have the ability to pass through space. A voice immediately explained to me. In fact, they are used to block those guys at the top of the tower. Stella? The guys at the top of the tower? I immediately repeated in my mind. Yeah, let's stop. The voice sounded again. It's better not to get involved in this, for the sake of our common good, just pretend that you don't know anything. Came. The captain's voice and the sounds of several people's footsteps rang out. These are the recruits who are participating with us today in the exploration outside the tower. Introduce yourself. Wuju spoke. Who wasn't there? In total, 4 people, as he said, not counting me and him. The fact is that they are all higher than the commander. And some even by 2 or 3 heads. There was also a guy on the left, but more comely, with medium-length blue-purple hair and purple eyes, next to the tallest of their company, a guy with chocolate-colored hair gathered in a high ponytail, which was diluted with bright pink pigtails on the sides, followed by a girl with medium-length blue hair and emerald-colored eyes, and at the end of this company, a sullen boy whose scarlet eyes were hidden by a curtain of his slightly short, loose brown hair. However, they surprised me when they appeared behind my back. My name is Wang Shai. The tallest guy of their company started the acquaintance. Brother, do you have Jilin in your bag? God, this guy is really interesting. A voice immediately exclaimed. As they say, if you are a jock, then you have problems with your head. Continued to parry the voice. The son of a rich family, born on the 3rd floor of the tower, he always hunted for fresh blood and danger, so he refused the straitjacket of the tower and joined the intelligence corps. Oh, and one more thing. As a macho man, he naturally loves Barbie dolls. Ha ha ha. He gave out his voice and burst into laughter. Yes, a trifle, I plan to go outside the tower and try my luck. I answered the question of a new acquaintance. Oh, the first time, but how I thought it all out. The guy was surprised. TC, rookie. Don't get in the way. It came from the mouth of a guy with blue-purple hair. I hope you won't die today. This is Lin Uzhu, he always says that, get used to it. Wang Shai decided to introduce us. We don't know each other well, even if you die, I won't grieve. Lin made his decision. Wow. The voice wasn't worth the wait. He immediately exclaimed with his next explanation. He's from the second floor, looks prettier than girls, is toxic and loves dismemberment. I like. A voice exclaimed, almost squealing. Hey, how about trying to subdue him? A voice suggested, which caused my short silence. I can only cling to influential people and not get in the way. And, sis, you look good. Wang Shai spoke and, smiling contentedly, hugged Lin Uzhu tightly. What did you say, little one? A guy who looked like a girl exclaimed with displeasure. Bro, forget it, forget it. Suddenly someone pulled me by the jacket, but turning around I saw a guy whose eyes are not visible because of his hair. Hi. My name is Shang Xiaoyi. The boy mumbled, greatly worried. Another freak. A voice in my head exclaimed, immediately delivering its verdict. At first glance, he looks like a puppy, but in battle he is the craziest among them. Often the first impression is deceptive, but this dwarf will make everyone give way to him. You have to be careful. Hi, I'm Bai W. I decided to introduce myself to him right away and held out my hand in response. But before the new acquaintance could say a word, a girl with blue hair came forward, pushing the poor guy aside. She immediately shook my outstretched hand. Yin Shuang. That's all she said, without taking her serious gaze directed in my direction. My god, a girl has finally appeared, otherwise I would have thought that everyone here is a monk. The voice put in its word again. By the way, she is an Avenger, she, like Shorty, has hidden secrets that the 6th floor is interested in. She is from the 2nd floor and seems to be the most normal in this group. A secret from the people on the 6th floor? Questions immediately popped up in my head. Not the first person, maybe. A rare talent? But her attention to me was not long. Pretty quickly she let go of my hand, abruptly turned around and started walking away. Speaking of a group, shouldn't there be 6 people? I asked the question out loud. Someone else? The two were in high spirits, the guy with hidden eyes immediately fell silent, and the captain generally became sullen. Already dead. The captain said briefly in my ear and slapped me lightly on the shoulder. Think better of yourself. In this group, everyone is a villain. It flashed through my mind right there and I smiled. It's time for the advance team to return. The captain spoke loudly. Get ready, we're going right now. The team is returning. A loud voice rang out. Attention. Be ready to go. A man appeared in front of one of the stels, squatting and surrounded by a bright light that created a barrier. Confirms the safe return of the preliminary reconnaissance group. 103,788 exploration has been carried out, there are enough energy resources, no fallen have been found. A newly arrived man with a bag overweight was reporting to another. Good. The recorder's response immediately followed. That's it, I immediately thought, the world outside the tower is random, so someone from the intelligence corps should be responsible for the preliminary study of the terrain. Making sure that there are energy mines and few monsters in the area. Only then a team of lower floors is sent to this area for work. The next group. The man who was recording the report shouted. Captain. He exclaimed when he saw who was standing in front of him and going to the next exploration. Captain, try your best. I wish you good luck. The man shouted wishes in the wake. A portal of a pleasant white color opened in front of Wuju. Forward. The captain told his escorts. Follow me. And disappeared into the portal. He was followed by Lin Uzhu, then Wang Shai, Shang Xiaoyi, Yin Shuang, and at the end was me. Watch and tranquilizer, check again. Gave the owl Yin Shuang. Checked. This is a portal. After we log in, a number will be generated. I decided to explain Yin Shuang. The number is entered into the Jiagong grid on the side of the portal, and the number increases horizontally. On the wall, indeed, there were rather big numbers highlighted in the table. You go in first. A new acquaintance spoke, passing ahead. Well, thank you. A 7-digit number. I thought, paying attention to the table with the numbers. 6,912,749 numbers that I got. In other words, during the 700 years of the Tower era, people have already explored millions of areas. I thought about it right there, slowly disappearing under the influence of the portal. I'm looking forward to this journey beyond the tower. We were met by a bright flash of light because of which it was barely possible to open our eyes, we just had to squint. But a moment and the bright warm light of the portal was replaced by the evening time of day. Dark turquoise sky over a huge abandoned building, which is located behind a high fence with a height of 2 people, on top of which a wire with spikes is attached. A kind of prison at a minimum. Here and there climbing plants that have settled in this place fall down the walls. It is difficult to see anything behind the fence grid, but if you look closely, then a sign in the form of a red diamond with a white cross, already warped from time, hangs over the central entrance, so to speak. This? Lin began, peering at the sign with the name of the establishment and trying to read it. A psychiatric hospital? He immediately asked the question aloud, as if doubting what he had read. The 9th Psychiatric Hospital? A voice in my head immediately became interested. If you don't get into this hospital, it will be difficult to conduct research. But who knows what might be waiting for you there? How many negative emotions can the mentally ill have? This is a hotbed of evil, I don't want you to go there. The voice in my head wouldn't stop, but I just listened to it in silence, measuring the building in front of me with my eyes. But there are secrets inside that only you can solve. Therefore, good luck. The voice exclaimed at the end of his fiery speech. A mystery that only I can solve. I thought about it right there. Does this have something to do with the Doomsday puzzle pieces? This psychiatric hospital has a strange name. With a slice of interest and excitement, Wang Shai gave his voice to the upcoming. Don't you want to come in and see? There are many fallen there. Shang Xiaoyi muttered, trembling and wiping away the beads of perspiration from excitement. I'm a little scared. I noticed this guy's watch. The warning icon is at 0, the scale has not even advanced 1 division. No sooner had I noticed it than the voice immediately laughed. Ha 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 ha. This guy is the drama king. It's obvious that he's calm. What an actor. The voice exclaimed incessantly. The temperature is quite normal, about 46. The captain assured, consulting the watch on his wrist, from which a blue canvas of a medium-sized screen appeared just above. However, the possibility of rapid changes cannot be ruled out. 46 degrees. The voice was puzzled, as it immediately exclaimed with a question. And is this a normal temperature? Hey Bai Wu. They're all crazy here. The voice persisted, indignant and panicking. Yin Shuang looked back at the scenery of this place, while others were moving forward. There is no grass and miners around, we must be near the city. The area is covered with a spreading slightly transparent fog. The receding road from this place is studded with lamp posts on one side and the other, which have been turned off for a long time and are idle. It's like some kind of horror movie. I'm glad that there is no forest from where a maniac will jump out. Only the road and the trees behind. Yin continued her speech. In that case, let's go in and take a look. Wang Shai exclaimed, still smiling contentedly with all his 32 teeth and banging his fist on his palm. There's no other way out, is there? This kind of scene is usually only in the blue zone. Be careful, don't rush. I spoke out loud, moving slowly behind my group. So timid? Lin was immediately indignant, looking back in my direction, and raised his voice continuing. If you're afraid, you can come back. Don't pull us down by attracting the fallen. Good. The captain said, waving his hand to Lin to silence him. I will go. The captain is serious. He touched the fence net and, having led to the edge of the door, grabbed in order to open the way for his subordinates and himself. The door opened quite easily. It can be seen that over time the locking chains began to slowly disintegrate, and the silence was scared off by its creaking. This? I began to inspect the area, glancing at the buildings on the territory where we went. The rhombus of the sign under the cross was divided into 4 more sectors. The letters above the main entrance are already covered with rust and have lost their initial appearance. Here and there, from different ends of the roof and edges, the tangled appendages of some climbing plant hang from each other. There are 4 medical buildings, each with 19 floors. He began to study and explain Wang Shai. It doesn't look like an ordinary hospital. The guy thought. 4 buildings, which one to explore first? I think we can only enter one. I pointed to the building located to my left. With the exception of the first building, the lower floors of the other buildings have no entrance at all. Looking around out of the corner of my eye, I saw only time-stained glass, behind which there are silhouettes like people, most likely some mannequins. Completely blocked. I continued to express my thought. If you want to go to the second building, you need to get to the 19th floor and go through the air corridor. After analyzing the terrain, I came across angular cavities, a kind of air corridors in the form of the letter G, which connected the tops of the buildings, thereby enabling people in the past to move between buildings without going outside. Wow, really? Wang Shai exclaimed as he surveyed the area I had indicated. You're useful. Recognized it for a while by Lin. Why is it so inconvenient? It's a hospital. The brunette with pink pigtails was indignant. Yes, but if something goes against common sense, then there must be a reason for it. I immediately thought about what Wang Shai had noticed. Perhaps the owner does not want anyone to enter the second building. It flashed through my mind right there. Captain. Shang Xiaoyi began, as if he had seen a ghost and was barely conscious. There are 17 evil spirits in this building, I'm afraid. Ha ha ha. The voice in my head laughed as if enjoying it. He continues to play his role. He struggles to suppress his delight. How interesting. Be on your guard. The captain immediately warned. We go into the first building. The captain was the first in the squad. He slowly opened the doors, breaking the silence with its creaking, followed by his comrades. A not very pleasant view of the lobby of the building opened before their eyes. The seats were torn up, standing out of place and stained with dried blood. The walls were decorated with blood in the form of streaks and lines. A rusted barrel from under something small lay on the floor. Sheets of paper with written texts of some information, ultrasound pictures or something similar were scattered on the floor. Special black film. Despite the abandonment of this room and the chaos that lives here, the dim light bulbs in the building in the corridor and hall are still lit. It looks like this hospital has been abandoned for a long time. Summed up what Lin saw. It's a complete mess, everything is neglected. We immediately began to look around inside the building and analyze what we saw. I drew on a kind of burgundy paint on the wall, which was either just smeared or depicted some kind of chaotic pattern. It's blood. I made a verdict in my mind. Looking closer, I saw that all these lines formed into a drawing. He has eyes in the form of 5 pointed forks of lines, ending with an eye at each end. There are a couple of branches just below, as if making a muzzle from the drawing. The sprout itself made its way out of a small circle, with a 5-pointed star inside. A sort of pentagram. The bloodstains are dark red, it looks like they were left recently. I thought and immediately mentally asked a question to a voice that was always screaming or indignant in my head. Do you see something? I asked. Huh? The voice exclaimed and immediately became indignant. I'm not mentally ill. How can I know what this symbol is? This is a psychiatric hospital, and my head is all right. I'm with common sense and a clear mind. Next to my feet were empty notebooks, sheets with some information, and a schematically drawn human body, scissors and many other stationery. However, I can say that these bloodstains were left 2 days ago. A voice spoke. 2 days ago? I thought immediately in my mind. Did someone try to hide it or on the contrary point the way? Think with your little head, I can't help you. The voice snorted, no longer sharing or trying to analyze what happened to me. Captain, there are many rooms here. Wang Shai said as he quickly looked around in space. Are we going to investigate them one by one? The captain was silent at first and then turned to me, turning around. By you. What do you think? Too many rooms, exploring one by one, maybe you can get the necessary information. I chuckled. But the most intimate secret is in the 4th building. I said in conclusion, slightly ahead of the commander. Suddenly Lin wanted to be indignant again and put an obstacle in the form of his hand and leaned against the wall. A little more and you will probably hear the gnashing of his teeth. Hey, new guy. He immediately exclaimed indignantly. What are you talking about? What other hidden secret? Ha, you hurt his tender feelings. A voice that only I can hear does not require waiting at such moments. I'm afraid he doesn't like you. I said, closing my eyes and exhaling. I explain it only once. Next time, just take my word for it. But before I could continue my explanation, Lin began to get indignant again. And? You. But fortunately the captain was with us, so he immediately let me continue. Bai Wu, go on. Wow. The voice was immediately surprised, which you can't get into your pocket for a word. And you know how to take power into your own hands. As I said at the beginning. I decided to continue my explanation. Of the 4 buildings, only the first one has an entrance. If a patient needs help in the 4th building, then he must go from the ground floor to the 19th, go through the 3rd and 2nd buildings and come to the 1st. And finally, from the 19th floor, it will reach the desired floor in the 1st building. During this time, a patient with any disease can already choose his next body for reincarnation. I finally expressed my thoughts aloud, which appeared to me thanks to the analysis of the terrain. The layout of this hospital is really unusual, but… The captain spoke, but immediately stopped. If you think logically, I continued, it looks more like a prison than a hospital. Prison? The people accompanying me were surprised, and I continued to explain. There is only one entrance. Then the prisoner has only one way to escape. Prisoners can be easily monitored. Since this is a prison, the farthest is the 4th building. Wang Shai immediately had a twinkle in his eyes and snapped his fingers. "This is the most secret place in the whole hospital," he exclaimed. "K Captain." Shang Xiaoyi mumbled, pointing somewhere with his finger. "There," he muttered, and everyone immediately turned around. He was pointing to the elevator doors at the top of which the number 19 and the down arrow were lit on the screen. The elevator went by itself. The boy muttered the same, turning to us. "Be on your guard," the captain immediately exclaimed. "Get ready for battle. It looks like we won't need to go up the stairs," Shan said, lifting his bangs higher, thereby opening his eyes. "Captain." I turned to Wuju. I was always interested in one question. No one has lived outside the tower for 700 years, these cities and hospitals should have been destroyed long ago. But why do some objects still exist? The numbers were decreasing with every passing moment, the elevator was getting closer with every second. And now the number 9 was displayed on the black screen. I'm not sure. I decided to answer Gu Qinyu's question. In some places that we have visited before, objects are activated from time to time, so, for example, in an amusement park, a Ferris wheel can rotate by itself. Rules outside the tower. Strange. The elevator car was getting closer and closer by the second. The corridor of the descent was illuminated by bright red lights. It's not just a space that is changing. Are there still many unsolved mysteries? I thought to myself. It seems that a phenomenon that cannot be explained is treated as a rule here. The number changed to 1, and all the team members immediately prepared for what awaits them behind these metal doors. Even Shan tucked his hair under the rim in anticipation of what awaited them, and the captain put his hand on the hilt of his sword. The situation in the lobby was heating up. And now, counting down second by second, the elevator arrival bell finally rang, and the doors began to slowly open, releasing a scarlet light from the cabin. A burgundy-colored eye, as if bloodshot, with an emerald iris, looked at them. From the crack of the opening doors, hands looked out, clasping the door plates, as if trying to help them open. Pale pink skin, scarlet sharp nails, scarlet flesh with large drops, and trickles of scarlet liquid oozing. Ooh! The monster stretched out. And so, when the doors opened completely, there was a monster in front of us in a pajama shirt with white and naked stripes. The head was divided into 2 parts with pale pink flesh, similar to the cap of this monster, under which, in the form of a column, there was ribbed flesh passing from red to white. There was a vessel sticking out in his chest, which seemed to have been cut off, and now blood is oozing out of it and does not stop. SHHH. He published again.